Okay.
Now, eventually Gaskins goes to trial. He's charged with 8 counts of murder. Now, Pee Wee did take the stand at his trial. He is given the death penalty. He pleads guilty, I guess, to 7 murders, is sentenced to life in prison. I guess he was saved for a bit of time because originally he was given the death penalty. Then sometime, I believe it was in like 1977, they ruled that the death penalty was unconstitutional.
Yeah, it was at the Supreme Court, wasn't
federal
it?
ban.
So that shut it down all over the nation, right?
So when that happens, they flip the sentence to life in prison.
Yeah.
But then, when the death penalty is lifted again, he is put back on death row.
Okay.
Or, when they lift the ban. So then he's back on death row.
They kill his little monkey ass?
Well, while he's in prison, he was hired as a hitman by someone else to kill another inmate. Now, this was like kind of a crazy story. I suppose there was an inmate in prison that was there for murdering like a family, like a mom and a dad.
Okay.
And the son, on the outside, like hires Pee Wee to kill this guy.
Okay.
As revenge for the murder of his parents.
Okay, so that's almost noble.
Like avenge. And it's crazy. So Pee Wee kind of comes up with this explosive device. I don't know how. If he's got like the anarchist cookbook or some shit.
Probably
in prison.
some shit he just wanted to try out on killing someone. He was like a little entrepreneur on how to kill a person. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, that happens while he's in prison, that he, wants to kill this other inmate. He's sitting on death row. While he's on death row, he has a journalist come in claiming that he wants to tell his story. He's going to tell all. So this journalist, of course, is very interested in what Pee Wee has to say. They sit down. That is how the book, The Final Truth, comes out.
Ah.
But there was like some stipulation in there that Pee Wee was like, I'll sit down and tell you my story. You can publish it, but you have to wait until after I'm dead.
Really?
And see, there again, this goes back to Pee Wee controlling the narrative.
Yeah.
Painting himself much bigger, badder, meaner than maybe he really was. He can embellish these stories, or he can just make up lies because there's no one there to disprove what he's telling. So that's why in the first part when we were talking about this book, you got to take some of this with a grain of salt because you just don't know if it's verifiable. I mean, it's not.
Now, he may have been trying to make himself bigger than life in the end there, but it's definitely, there's evidence that he was a brutal sociopath, psycho who did not mind killing people. And he killed quite a few people. And who knows how many more he brutalized or, traumatized. Right.
And so even though the coastal kills may have been exaggerated, he may have not hit the peak number that he's claiming, which would be, 80 to 100 people. But it is possible that he did kill maybe a handful of people during that time. Maybe he really did do some of those things and they just were unable to find the bodies.
Yeah, I do believe maybe that's when he gave in to his impulses and his fantasies that he'd been having. Now, he may have, embellished details and make it like this whole thing with, putting chains through people and lowering them and
give them the old razzle-dazzle.
Yeah, but that's not to say he didn't just kill them. Or who knows, the crazy little fucker might have done some of that shit.
Well, he may have. And again, you kind of touched on it in the first part of the story that even if he didn't do those things, just the mere description and the fantasy and the detail that he's giving proves that he's got a pretty active...
Proves he's fucked
up imagination.
In the head.
Right.
Sorry about the F-bombs, guys. Well, I love the word fuck.
Well, I have to apologize, sort of. I mean, I'm a former sailor.
Yeah.
And apparently my mouth is still a sailor.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yep, she's a foul-mouthed little thing.
I am, I know. It's very unladylike. My granny's probably rolling over in her grave right now.
Yeah.
He was electrocuted in the chair.
Yeah.
Electric chair on September 6th, 1991.
Wow.
Hours before his execution, he tried to kill himself. He sliced his wrists open.
Control.
Tried to kill himself.
I'm going to control this. You think you're going to do this to me? I'm going to do it this way. Well, that little fucker.
Well, that and also, what a fucking cowardly thing to do. Like, oh, I'm scared of the electric chair, so I'm just going to slice my wrist.
I want to go in the electric chair, because then what's going to happen is it's going to be like that movie Shocker. I'm going to go into, my spirit's going to go into the electric outlets and shit, and I'm going to go back and get everybody that crossed me.
Oh, yeah.
You ever seen that?
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Dude, that's pimp.
Tries to slice his wrists open, is found. They give him medical attention, but they still we don't give a fuck, you're going into the chair. Now, his 20-year-old son, Donald Jr., because remember, Pee Wee's real name is Donald. Donald Jr. was the only relative present at his execution. His other children, ex-wives, friend, no one else came out for the big Pee Wee show.
Well, I mean, you could imagine a lot may show up just to watch him die. But I don't guess they let everybody in there, right?
No, but I mean,
you can be out front.
Yeah, but I guess family would be allowed in.
You could be out front with a sign, be like, "Hey, we love you." You know, there's always weird ass people who are down for the people that fucked up people.
It's actually pretty interesting. I posted along with the link to our part 1 on the crimes of Pee Wee Gaskin some photos, and I found a photo, and it's the protesters outside of the prison.
Yeah.
But they've got signs that say "Die, Pee Wee, die."
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get a chance to look at those last night.
I mean,
I'm gonna look at those.
This was in 91 when he was executed. He was notorious. I mean, probably the most prolific murderer, killer to come out of South Carolina. He's legendary there. And you got to consider 91. I mean, he's a villain because back then, I mean, there were probably people with a true crime interest, but I think the world viewed murderers, killers in a different way. And not to say that today we celebrate them, but I think we're more interested in them.
Yeah, well, I think that's just because it took that long, from back in the day when, the cops started thinking and developing, the whole Mindhunters thing, and we need to, talk to these people and try to figure out what makes them tick and, start understanding. It took all the way through the 90s to where, but there's still not a whole lot of understanding, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like we drag them out into the light, but all we do is just, you're shocked and all this, and people, but now it's like we've evolved in a way, and maybe we're just twisted people, all of us that enjoy true crime.
I don't know how to call it progress.
But I saw that when you asked what, why people like true crime, many said the same thing as me. I just want to know what makes them tick.
Right.
My point is everybody has trauma, like you said. Everything everybody has something that happens bad when they're growing up, I would think, to a degree. But what's that perfect cocktail that makes, an uncaring maniac killer?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we can get into that discussion of, our
nature and nurture.
Murderers,
I think it's some mixture.
Made? Are they born that way?
Right.
Are they created? Yes. Is it like a secret scientific discovery in a lab? I mean, I don't know. But
well, I mean, really, in the future, can they do a DNA test or a gene test and be like, this person has 87% chance of being a psychopath? Will they start culling out the murderers? And if they do, what the fuck are we gonna do with our free time?
Well, I was gonna say, or if they do, were they gonna lock me away?
No. Hold up, y'all. Hold up.
I'm just saying.
Hold up. This shit just got real.
I have tendencies.
Yeah, but so I think now we just want to know what makes them tick and why they do what they do.
Hashtag sociopath. Just kidding. You had mentioned on our Facebook page that we did pose the question, why do you like true crime? And I told, our followers that we might mention them on the podcast. So we did get some pretty interesting comments. Let's talk about a couple of those.
There's a great comments.
Debbie Franklin says, my answer is simple. From the Bible, really. Half of our blood is Cain's blood, half of our blood is Abel's. We can go either way, good or bad, for whatever reason at any time. I truly believe this lies deep inside each of us. The only difference is what triggers it. I like to see exactly what makes people tick, what their trigger point is.
Yeah, I like that comment, Debbie.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Of course, our buddy Danny Satterfield, he says, oh no, I can't, I'm incognito. Yeah, he's funny. Sarah Gutierrez says, I'm fascinated with the idea of being a detective and analyzing crime scenes. I'm also curious with people who have committed the crimes. Gary Ramsey says, I like the psychological aspects of crime, what makes a person do what they've done, what was their background, and what part did that play in their decision making? I think a lot of people feel that way.
Sharon see, that's
Verdue
more...
says the same thing. She says it's the, why did this happen? It's like a jigsaw puzzle, fitting the pieces together so that all the missing pieces make a complete picture. Sometimes we have the picture, but we never understand the why.
Yeah, I have one here from Ashley Doyle. She's like, honestly, I don't know. I've been obsessed since I was a kid. My mom would buy me books on serial killers, and I read about Manson when I was maybe 10. I love the why, but also the psychological and disordered aspect of it all. I'm also terrified professors for knowing way too much about this. Also, not sorry. Now, that's a real fan. That's a real true crime person right there.
My friend Sonia Goodman says, I find it fascinating that most people can withstand childhood trauma for the most part and not become psychopaths who act out. Some people just break and take others down with them. A lot of us are damaged yet never go off that cliff. Maybe we are living vicariously through them.
That's a good point. And then Leanne Loggins actually finishes up with ideas. So I like that. So that's a great answer, guys. I agree with most everything there. I agree with all aspects you guys are bringing up, and that's what we like about Mountain Murders Facebook page. We got some real true crime fans.
We do. It's a fun little community.
And we don't mean our fans. We mean true crime friends and fans, and we're just like you guys. And that's why we sound like doofballs and just carry on and on about serial killers.
Well, if you like our Mountain Murders Facebook page and you love our podcast, sign up on Patreon. Now, as a patron, you can sign up at our lowest level, $3 a month.
It's less than one coffee.
$3 a month. And you're going to get exclusive content only available on Patreon for our patrons.
Sure.
You're going to get other perks. You can give us cases you want us to cover.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot going on over there. Photos, videos. The more patrons we get, the more content we'll be able to produce. We're talking about maybe recording, like doing a video of our process of recording the podcast. So you can actually see how goofy we really are.
There's a lot of stuff over there, and we put more there every week, and there's full-blown episodes, and there's some little mini episodes, some companion episodes.
Yeah, sometimes we get a little off topic. We stray a little bit from the traditional true crime Appalachian mountain murder story and delve into some other topics.
Yes,
we've got some great ideas in the works, some things that we want to look into that are not necessarily true crime, but kind of go along with that, maybe paranormal. We talk about legends, just a lot of weird little Appalachian things. So yeah, for the price of less than one coffee, which I get those daily, sadly, I got to cut that out. But you can get access to all that, and you can directly support us here at Mountain Murders. We'll cut out the corporations and all the middlemen, and we'll keep this thing going, guys, because we want to just keep doing it. We have lots of fun, and we really enjoy meeting and talking to all of you. Support the podcast and help us grow Mountain Murders. Don't forget, if you're not following us on Facebook, go find Mountain Murders. We post a lot of memes, a lot of stories, fun content there. We're on Instagram, Mountain Murders Podcast. You can also find us on Twitter under the name Mountain Murders. Yes, and don't forget to subscribe at your favorite podcast provider, because you know what? You never know when we're going to drop an episode, folks.